Okay, so this is a video that David Wood put out with his discussion with Uthman ibn Farooq at Balboa Park, and you're going to see him talk about the Quran and its versions.
I didn't think so. Hang on. Go ahead, think.
Ubay ibn Ka'b?
Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu did not believe that Surah Fatiha is ended in Surah Nas?
He didn't have two extra surahs in his Quran?
No!
Ibn Mas'ud didn't have 111 chapters in his Quran?
No! Miskin!
Ubay ibn Ka'b didn't say that there are over 200 verses missing from Surah 33?
Not at all. Let me explain this.
He didn't have extra words?
He did not. Let me
He didn't
explain
have
it.
extra words.
Can I explain it now?
Well, yeah, but
Okay,
even Yusuf Ali's commentary admits it.
Yusuf Ali was an Ismaili, as I told
Yeah,
you.
Yusuf Ali is just lying about what's in
Let me
what's in
explain
the
it.
Qur'an
Get the
of
book.
Ubay ibn Ka'b.
Listen. Sir, if you want to learn. This is why you didn't come here to learn. Because you're not trying to learn, you're just trying to argue.
Yeah, you keep
You
saying
get
false stuff.
you get the book,
things,
you
and
get
I
the
won't
book
have to
Al-Itqan of a Suyuti, and he has an entire chapter that discusses in this difference. What he explained about Ubay ibn Ka'b are those ayat that were revealed and then put in different surahs. It's not that they were disappeared. Ibn Mas'ud, let me finish before you go to Yusuf Ali. And Yusuf Ali, again, was Ismaili, we don't accept his commentary. He even denied the Hurul Ain, so I mean, we're not going to go there, right? But now when we go to the Yusuf Ali, I said that in the beginning. When you first pulled that out, I told you Yusuf Ali is Ismaili. I told you that at the beginning.
I know you hate all these other groups. It
I
doesn't
don't
mean I
hate-
can't get information from them. Why should I trust you over them?
Everything. Okay? Now, a Suyuti, which is the standard for the fun, he says about Ibn Mas'ud, it is not that he didn't have Balagh al-Falaq, Balagh al-Nas, but he took them as adhkar originally until he was reminded. And that's why when Zayd ibn Thabit, you know Zayd ibn Thabit is? Yeah. You know who he is? When he compiled it, was there any khilaf or was there ijma'? Ijma'. Consensus of all of the Sahaba that this is the Quran as revealed from Al-Fatiha to Nas. Zayd ibn Thabit, radiallahu anhu, in the time of Abu Bakr and again in the time of Uthman. This is the ignorance that he doesn't know. He did not. Zayd ibn Thabit, what's wrong with you?
He didn't find.
What is wrong with you?
Zayd ibn Thabit didn't when he did the Uthmani recension. He didn't find a couple verses that were missing.
No.
Okay.
Where did you get that
That's
from?
interesting.
Yourself?
He didn't find the two verses
Uthman,
from.
listen. Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu, when he compiled the Quran in time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and re-standardized the strengths to send out, they were the same. This is why the Sahaba came to an ijma'. You know what the word ijma' means? Consensus. I mean, no Sahabi disagreed when this was sent out. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu knew Balagh al-Falaq of Nas. He led them in salah with them. There are ahadith of Ibn Mas'ud recites them in salah. But what he was explaining was he took them to be adhkar originally until he was reminded. And that's why when Zayd ibn Thabit compiled the Quran, he didn't just do it from his own. He collected all of the Huffaz and all of the Sahaba until they came to a consensus. And that's why today, I ask you, David Wood, find me one Muslim that does not believe that the Surah Al-Fatiha to Surah Al-Nas is Quran.
You're talking about after all the variants and so on are burned.
Again,
Uthman
did not burn variants. This is again your ignorance. So, let me no.
The reason for compiling them and burning them was because there were differences in the recitation of the Quran.
There are all the recitations go to the Mus'haf of Uthman, then how could those differences have been gone? No, let me finish with you now. When Uthman radiallahu anhu collected the Quran, people had small scripts. And what he wanted to do was to make sure that people don't start to take those scripts and misunderstand and join them in wrong places as not in a book format. So he compiled it.
And differences in the recitation of the Quran.
No. Again, the difference of the Quran continues on the Mus'haf of Uthman. Even today, every Qur'an has, you know the three conditions of a Qur'an?
One second, just let me read this so I can put it down. So this is commentary on the verse, Surah 33, verse 6. The Prophet is closer to the believers than their own selves, and his wives are their mothers. He says, in spiritual relationships, the Prophet is entailed to more respect and consideration than blood relations. In some qiyas, like that of Ubay ibn Ka'b, occur also the words, and he is a father of them, which imply his spiritual relationship and connection with the words, and his wives are their mothers. So in his
Okay,
qira'ah,
so he
his
said,
qira'ah,
no,
he
wait,
had extra words.
hold on. Now, this is your ignorance again. Bring me the ayah. David Wood's going to get done another time now.
Yeah,
because
Ubay,
you're ignorant.
because Ubay ibn Farooq screwed it up.
Because you didn't understand the hadith. That's the problem.
Okay. There you go, right there. That's the note. That's the verse.
So the note is
For some strange reason,
74.
for some strange reason, Ubay ibn Farooq had extra words in it.
He did not have extra words. Hold on, I'm showing you. I'm showing you, right? وكان الله بما يعملون ولي للمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجهم وأمهاتهم. Here, in this recitation of Ubay ibn Ka'b, which again this is one of the shad recitations, meaning this is not established from the mutawatir hadith, which you don't know anything about, but what can I do? Here, the word is pronounced differently, it's not an additional word, which changes its meaning from their own wives, from their own selves and wives to rather their own fathers. But this is first off, this recitation,
And he is the father to them.
right, again. So like here, how he is closer to them, in the recitation, the word changes the meaning of it, not that there's an additional word, right? Like the word said,
Also the words.
Let me explain it to you again, and you get it fine, and you can read it. But the thing is, you don't really want to learn. The word walid and walida, for example, right? And just to change in recitation changes the meaning. Both of them being correct. Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu, this qira'at is not established mutawatir. Every qira'at has been mutawatir from the Nabi alayhi sallam. But even here, it was not the additional word, but the difference in recitation that gave the depth in meaning. Now, these recitations, as Suyuti had mentioned, that are shad. That means that they are not accepted, because even in recitation, we have to make sure they're mutawatir, that they are through numerous authentic chains. Those that are through authentic numerous chains, they do not have additional words, because they all have to go back to one Mus'haf. Mus'haf Uthman. Any recitation that may be attributed to anybody that does not go back to the Mus'haf Uthman is rejected. Sorry, Dave.
So if Muhammad's other companions
Again,
had different recitations, because that's
you're not getting.
That's
Right?
even in Bukhari.
So,
Umar said Ubay was the best of the reciters among us, but we leave off some of what he recited.
Excellent.
They're leaving it off.
Excellent. What does that hadith talk about?
Let me guess, different pronunciations or something.
No. So Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu had his style of recitation that would elongate. Things the Quraysh did not want to elongate. See, so this is the thing, you're ignorant
This
of
is
what
amazing.
going
We're
on,
sitting
right?
here reading. There are passages you can read. This is Ubay ibn Ka'b, who said that over 200 verses are missing just from Surah 33.
Again,
He's got extra words.
The problem
He's got extra
is,
words here.
the problem
and everything will
is,
be
what
reinterpreted
he
as
doesn't
nope, it was
know,
exactly
it's
the
not
same.
interpretation.
He just
it's context.
elongated the word.
If you had understood the context,
And we're
if you
not
actually
elongating it.
studied-
That's what
do
Umar is
this.
saying.
Do this. So what is the hadith number here?
See the 2286? That's the number.
So, you are the best among the inhabitants of Basra, for you are the reciters among them, so continue to recite. Continue to recite. That you are reciting for a long time may not harden your hearts, so they were hardened as were the hardened of the hearts of those before you. We used to recite a surah which resembles in length and surah in severity, Surah Al-Bara, which is Tawbah. I have, however, forgotten it, with the exception of which I remember all of it. If there were two valleys full of riches of the son of Adam, he would long for a third valley, and nothing would fill their stomach to the son of Adam except that. And we used to recite a surah which resembled one of the surahs of Mushabbiyat, and I have forgotten it. But remember this much of it. What's your point?
This is Abu Musa.
Abu Musa al-Ash'ari.
He goes to the reciters. He goes to the reciters of Basra.
Okay.
Right? And he says, hey, just be careful that you reciting the Quran for a long time doesn't harden your heart. Like you get bored with it or something, you get sick with it or something, right?
No. You didn't understand that. This is the thing with ignorance, right?
Reading words off a page.
No, and not understanding them apparently. So you're reciting for a long time.
Long
You
time.
do not harden your
Harden your heart.
as were hardened of those before you. So he's telling them, continue to recite,
Obviously.
so that your reciting does not harden your heart.
Right. And he says, as were hardened the hearts of those before you.
For
Right?
by not
The
reciting.
earlier generation, right? By not reciting, right?
Right, hold on, hold on.
And
So
then he
explain.
and then he says, there was a chapter of the Quran
So
in length and severity, like Surah At-Tawbah. So there's a chapter as long as and hard as Surah At-Tawbah.
okay.
Right? But I have forgotten it.
Sure.
Right? But he gives a verse out of it. If there were two valleys for the son of two valleys of riches for the son of Adam, they would want a third.
The scheme.
And so he's telling
Let me explain it to you.
this is Abu Musa saying they forgot two chapters.
This is your ignorance again, right?
What chapter is it?
Let me explain it to you. What chapter? That is not a chapter at all. That's actually a hadith.
That's a hadith.
That's a hadith. So let me explain this to you.
So he didn't know.
You waiting? You ready? You okay? Take a breath. Take a breath, bro. This is your last one, but I'm gonna kill it with this one. So, when we look at the Sahaba radiyallahu, who were the memorizers of the Quran, those that came together with Zayd ibn Thabit, Abu Musa al-Ashari is not one of them. Did you know that? Oh, they start again.
Oh, then the chapter should still be there.
Let me explain. As if you had studied Ilm al-Rijal, which you didn't, then you would have known that some of the Sahaba, to the later type of their age, they had issues with memory. Right? And that is why Uthman ibn Affan, Allah reward him, what he had done before this time, before Abu Musa al-Ashari went to Basra, before he became old, that Uthman radiallahu took the Qurra, Zayd ibn Thabit ibn Mas'ud ibn Hikam, from Uthman radiallahu himself, and he standardized the Quran. So if somebody, as a person, starts to forget or mix up things, it would not affect the Quran. Memory, and only accepting 2 witnesses per ayah, compiled the Quran, standardized, sent out, with ijma' sahaba, so anybody's personal memory would never affect the Quran after that. Walhamdulillah. At 6 o'clock, I'm out. You're gonna want to keep going because you know you got destroyed repeatedly.
Oh,
but I gotta
I find it interesting. Very interesting, because I've seen that interpretation that you quoted. It's a hadith. And I've seen like 9 different explanations to explain that away.
You can't talk to us.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
I'm talking to you. I've noticed. It doesn't seem there's a consensus on what that means.
And by the way,
No, there's no consensus, right?
The consensus on the Quran's preservation has been documented in Al-Isqan. Go look at it.
Yeah, the consensus. Right here. The consensus on the Quran's preservation now, even though you do have the different qira'at and so on, but you go back, different numbers of chapters. You have passages talking about entire chapters coming up missing. You have, according to Aisha, over 100 verses of Surah 33 coming up missing. According to Ubay ibn Ka'b, more than 200 verses missing from Surah 33. Ibn Umar warned people. Ibn Umar warned people. He said, let none of you say, I've memorized the entire Quran, for how does he know what the whole of it is when so much has disappeared? And the response to all of that is, there's a consensus. There's a consensus. We know there's a consensus now, but it doesn't line up with reality.